Welcome to TYTSports. Francis Maxwell here with Jacques Slade and Jason Rubin. And talking about Jason Rubin, let's talk about the top disappointments in American sports.
Wonderful intro. Wonderful. Slow clap for the man.
Slow clap. All right, so we are going to talk about, is it the top 10, top 20?
It was a list
just
of
a
about
list.
20, but we took 10.
10 of the biggest disappointment in disappointments in American sports. I will provide my, for you soccer fans out there, my disappointments in the soccer world at the very end. But let's take a look at the top 10 disappointments in American sports. Jason, lead us off.
Well, and I don't know exactly how ordered we made this. This was a TYTSports effort. Jacques knows the power of graphic making for TYTSports. We kind of just control where these things go.
Right.
But Mayweather-Pacquiao, after 2 months of really rewatching this fight and all the hype that surrounded it, and it was supposed to be up there with Ali versus Liston, no. It was, and the only word, a disappointment. Granted, if you knew what to expect, like most of us did, at least boxing fans, it was. And then, of course, I'm going to highlight, I'll leave Jacques to highlight some other ones. I don't think he's going to really highlight my Knicks, who have just been such the mecca of basketball at one point. And the ability to play in Madison Square Garden, where for a while they were the most exciting show there, and then for whatever reason, The Rock people's elbowed somebody, and the commentators called it the most electrifying move in Madison Square Garden sports history. That's a true story. Wow. The Knicks have just fallen under WWE in terms of excitement at Madison Square Garden, under boxing at Madison Square Garden. I mean, under the concerts that Billy Joel plays a residency there, and that sells out before the fucking Knicks do. So those are my two biggest of disappointments of my life in sports.
All right, what about that list for you, Jacques? What stood out for you?
I'm going to go with the decision.
Ooh. Very
As number
interesting.
one?
As the number one disappointment?
Yeah.
Oh, my number. Well, I think number one would definitely be the Mayweather-Pacquiao.
Oh, okay.
Like it was maybe, 5 years late?
5 years in the making, and
Was it 5 years late? Would 5 years be accurate?
Yeah, I think 5 years. Well, it was predicted before that. I think it was predicted that it was going to happen, but then when it was really close to happening, and the whole problems with Mayweather apparently telling Pacquiao he had to be drug tested, and the whole conflict. But that was 5 years.
Pacquiao getting knocked out also really set that fight back.
Yeah.
But I disagree with both of you guys. I think that on the Mayweather-Pacquiao, I was disappointed with the fight, but maybe it was because I was in Vegas. We were in Vegas when it happened, and I generally enjoyed the spectacle of it. But the fight itself, I expected it. I predicted basically. I don't know if I think everyone in the world predicted a decision. I think if you were going to think of a knockout, you were thinking of two different fighters for me, because you were thinking of maybe Pacquiao 5 years ago, and you were thinking of Mayweather 10 years from now, because he doesn't get knocked out, I'm afraid, and Pacquiao does not have that same punching power. So I expected it. So maybe that's why I don't think it's the biggest disappointment, because I went in with if Mayweather sticks to his game, this is going the full distance. You might get a flurry of Pacquiao punches in there, but it's nothing that's going to maybe take Mayweather off guard. So I expected that, so that's why it doesn't come as number one for me.
I think the nostalgia factor for Pacquiao, I mean, where people were just really wanted something to happen. Like, you just wanted something to happen.
Yeah.
And it was like a fight where just nothing happened. And
I thought Jamie Foxx did a pretty good job with the national anthem. Am I the only one? There's actually a lot of there were some people hit Twitter, Facebook, and social media.
Said
it was terrible, and he added the hallelujah at the end of it. I was like, you know what? Jamie Foxx has so much talent in his entire body that I don't even know.
How many rums did you have before you listened to that anyway?
Multiple rums.
maybe that should be the disappointment.
But Jacques, you mentioned the decision, which is very interesting because it was a huge disappointment as a Knicks fan, but I'm curious as to why that holds up there in terms of disappointments.
I wanted LeBron to stay. I wanted him to stay in Cleveland. Not that I'm necessarily a Cleveland fan or anything like that, but I just felt he could have built a greater legacy by staying there and continuing to fight on despite the hardships in Cleveland. What's harder now in Cleveland than it was back then? Some could argue that he had a better team back then in Cleveland than he has now.
The Drew Goodens, the Mo Williams.
I understand why he left. I understand making that move and what it did for his career and how it changed the scope of basketball in the league, and it changed the NBA and how we view players and things like that. But at the same time, you're kind of that's your hometown.
That's your home.
Yeah.
Go to your home, ball.
Go to your home.
Why did you go to your home? You did good for your home?
So what I also find amazing about the decision is that was on I thought the bubble, the breaking period of when social media just caught up to breaking news.
Yeah.
Because it was about 10 minutes before he actually said it, and they had this whole, Francis, if you remember, they had this whole hour-long show.
Yeah, I remember.
Devoted at the Boys and Girls Club, and it was for charity, and it was like, I'm going to take my talents too, and oh my God. And it was a different LeBron James than you see now. He's just simply matured. But if they were to do another decision, if for whatever reason LeBron were to have that same exact setup in 2014 before he went to the Cavs and made that second decision, it would have broke on social media hours before it could even happen. Nobody can keep their mouth shut anymore.
Right.
So that's when I knew
what's interesting is the decision can't ever happen again, at least with the scope that had, where people were glued to watch where one guy was going to go. So Michael Vick's dogfighting operation was a major disappointment.
Did we just? I feel that Lance Armstrong's was just devastating because he was such an icon. I mean, Lance Armstrong, he was the face of strength from Nike, right? He was the face of it. It was Live Strong was him, and now it just became such a farce. And you think about the money that was made from that, and everything that there was probably people that gained an enormous amount of strength from Lance Armstrong. And when that comes out, that is a huge disappointment.
It was a fashion statement.
Yeah,
people, everybody had a Live Strong.
I ran around Glasgow trying to find one because I couldn't find the Live Strong one. I ran around from store to store and they were selling out.
Yeah, a lot of people were invested in that story and invested in what he represented, and for that to just go away and to be proved to be false, it's like you've been believing in this one thing all this time, and then you realize at the end of the day, it was like Oz. It was like Oz.
Yeah, Jason's going to say a joke right
here. It's so impressive. It's not really a joke. It's just a fact. It's so impressive that Lance Armstrong made cycling relevant.
Right.
And irrelevant in the same decade.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like the Tour de France is now known. It was in the cycling circles, which I don't know how big those circles are.
Right.
Yeah.
But like it wasn't something that you really just tuned into. Like it's the 12th stage of the Tour de France. Like if Lance wins this stage, I'm invested. I need to watch this. Yeah. I am glued to my TV like a Game 7 of a finals. No, it was the best story ever. Granted, he almost made up for it in the greatest sports cameo appearance in Dodgeball.
But also, what about the same thing goes for another person on that list, Tiger Woods, right? It just said there that his fall from grace, basically, but
not as
I don't think it's scandalous. I think what Tiger Woods did for his sport was never tarnished by what he did outside of the course. Like I think that reputation, as him as a person, brought a negative light to him. But Tiger Woods is the face of golf, and always will be. No one will ever replace him.
He made golf cool.
He made it cool. He made it relevant. He redefined what it was to look like a golfer because he was in physical, in peak physical condition. Yeah. He drove the ball so far, and he was just a good story as a token black American, just basically standing up for golf and breaking down stereotypes, right? Where you expect to be involved in golf. So I think that his reputation outside of the golf course and what he did in his personal life, I don't think that's a disappointment for him. His fall from grace as a professional isn't exactly disappointing. It happens. He was still one of the best golfers ever, and I look at that as him as being something that I will always remember. I will remember that scandal, but I will still, when someone says to me 20 years from now, Tiger Woods, I'm like, this is one of the best golfers to have ever lived. Did so much for the game.
Really quick, the last few that we have were Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl. Giant disappointment, agreed. I don't think anybody's really disagreeing with that one. Tiger Woods, we just talked about. Sorry, Matt Leinart and Vince Young. Studs in college.
So much hope for Vince Young. Like, he came in, what he did to USC, and everybody was like, yes! Vince Young going to do it.
Matt Leinart for USC.
Matt Leinart.
Vince Young
for Texas. And then you
battle.
You thought it was going to be something amazing when it hit the NFL, and it was like a dud firecracker. Like you lit it, everyone was all excited, and you're like, yes, this is going to be a huge explosion. It's going to be in the air. It's going to be colors, and it's going to make like a monogram in the sky, and then it's like.
That's it. Fizzled off after like 2 weeks of the NFL.
Right.
The last one was, I think, the Portland Trailblazers drafting Greg Oden.
A couple of mine that I think could have made the list, even for an American
soccer ball
as well, is even with soccer ball, Wondolowski's miss in the World Cup there
for the
against
United
Belgium
States.
when he missed from like 3 yards out. I mean, it's the guy will never shed that. He's scored, I think, 102, 103 goals in the MLS, so he's a very good striker in the MLS, but that will always.
To be honest, that's a good point. I'd rank that higher than just about everything except the Knicks.
You think so?
Really? Even Greg Oden?
Definitely Greg Oden.
Really? But Greg Oden was
I think-
amazing in college.
yeah, he
I think if he did it
that
in the
wasn't the
MLS, if he did it in MLS, and it wouldn't be a disappointment because this was a guy that could have
US.
this could have just took the US
Took it,
finally.
yeah.
Like they're still on the map, but it could have took them into like the last 8 of the World Cup. That's insane for considering the US. But
Yeah.
a couple more for me, soccer wise, to hit our soccer audience out there that are probably screaming at the TV. What about John Terry, I would say maybe, who was an English captain. I'll brief you on this, Shaq. He was an English captain, and he was the pinnacle of a great centre defender, and then banged his teammate's wife. And was removed from his. That took a negative turn, and he was stripped of his captaincy. He was basically a national disgrace for doing that to his English teammate before a major competition. So he kind of fell from grace a little bit with that.
I can imagine that changed the dynamic of the team.
It definitely did. It was just never that good. And then going back to America as well, I think this is the second time I've mentioned him in 2 days. Freddie Adu. This was the highest prospect for the US.
Do you remember Freddie? You remember Freddie?
I remember the name.
I think everyone remembered him as
Sports
well.
Illustrated cover.
Yeah, he was at a Sports Illustrated cover, and I just found out, I think he plays in Finland in a 3rd division, but then was loaned out. And when you're loaned out, it means 2 things. You're going to get experience, and he's now like 25, 26. I don't think he needs any more experience, or you're not good enough to play in the team, and you just want to give your wage cap to someone else.
Wow.
So
wait,
I think he's
3rd tier, as
third
in
tier. Like
C division,
Double A
Yes,
baseball.
like
like
double-
double A baseball.
To the majors, yeah.
In the Finnish, in I think it's a Finnish league, Finland's league. So like I couldn't name a team, and no discredit to Finland league. Come on, right? But I couldn't remember anyone. I think I could name one in Finland's Division 1. But anyway, 3rd division of that. Then you're getting loaned out, which is just that's a complete disappointment for a guy that had all the hope of the nation on his shoulders to be this new
that's
player. I
tough.
remember when you played computer games, you always had this kid that was on the prospect list that you had to look out for. I think for like 10 straight years, he was a kid since he was like 8. This is him. He's gonna be the guy for the United States, and then unfortunately, he just never lived up to the expectation.
Too much hype.
Too much hype. So, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comment section below. Who makes your list? Do you agree with our top 10 here? Is there anyone else we missed out? Make sure to comment in the section below. Make sure to check out Jacques in the comment section below. We'll leave all his social media, where to find him. Jason Rubin 91, Francis_Maxwell on Twitter as well. Thanks, guys. Thanks.